we're still talking about emotional baggage. And you might say, you know what, I don't have any emotional baggage. I have none. Good for you. You might just have some extra pounds because, you zigged a little bit. But I'd be safe to say that there's many of us in the room that can really look at your life and say, you know what, I didn't have Ozzie and Harriet for my parents. I didn't. They didn't have the money to put me through college. I'm not saying mine, which they didn't, but I'm saying whatever you might say. Or I had an abuse of this or that, or I made this huge mistake. There's not many of us in this room that can't look at our lives and say, but you know what? We can't go back in time. It's time to put to death the sins of our past. It's the only way we can be free is having a new life in Christ Jesus. We can be free. In Christ we can be forgiven. It's time to forgive ourselves and move on. Anyone who's a parent, anyone, can look back and say, oh my gosh, I shouldn't have done this. I shouldn't have done that. Why couldn't I have been a better parent or listened or done this or done that? Or maybe if I would have done this. I don't know about you guys, but no one gave me a book. There wasn't a manual. I mean, I know Dr. Spock had a baby book, but other than that, no one said, when your teenage son does X, Y, Z, here's what you do. So a lot of it, we were trying to deal with things that we were taught as a kid, and they weren't always the best things, because I used to say, I just thought my father just might kill us. When my mother would say, your father's going to kill you, I thought, maybe he will. Maybe he will kill us. I don't think anyone thinks that now. I don't think Vince goes, maybe my father will kill me. I don't think he's worried about that. We were. We thought our father just might kill us. So that really kept us on the straight and narrow. And now we're like, I'm taking that iPhone away from you for a couple of days if you don't be good. iPhones, what? So we have a different kind of parenting than perhaps we grew up with. And we can have a lot of regrets about that, or we can say this, they're still alive. We got them to this point and they're living, yeah, I did a good job there. And they're functioning in society. I don't know if anyone's got kids in prison or anything like that in the group, but they're functioning in society the best they can. And that's one thing we have to give ourselves credit for, doing the best we can. Greater is he who lives in you than he that is in the world. They're our favorite Bible verses because they're true. In Christ you are absolutely and completely free, John 8:36. So if the truth sets us free and we face the truth about ourselves and we let it go. Now there's going to be people who might not let you let it go. They might say, oh, Ellen, how great of you to be doing so super at Pray It Off. But remember what you did to me? Then you can say, you know what, I'm really sorry about that, and I've really asked God to forgive me, and I ask you to forgive me too. Well, I'm not going to. You got to walk away. You can ask God for forgiveness. You can ask someone else for forgiveness. If they won't forgive you, it doesn't mean it's still baggage you have to hang on to. Maybe they'll come around when they have their own journey with God. Because there's two words we want God to say when we meet him on the other side. We want him to say, well done. And if you wake up in the morning and you say, what can I do today? Someone asked me to be a reference for them to be a volunteer at Francis' house. Well done. Well done. There's people in this group that help out with food pantries, that help out in their careers as nurses and helpful people. Well done. We have to love ourselves well. We can do all things. Greater is Jesus than the world. And I'm going to stop there, Bob, because I want to talk a little bit